I saw you coming in this morning without any makeup on, right? And you look amazing.
You are just too charming.
No,
that's why you're still here on that
seriously.
sofa.
Look at you. You were born in 1948. This is ridiculous.
Same as Judy.
Same as Judy, yeah. Good year, a vintage year.
Very good.
And you are celebrating 6 decades in show business because you began as just a child, 15 years old.
It was just a wee win. It's true.
Of that compilation is your Eurovision win back in 1969 and your James Bond theme tune, which I think have to count as 2 of your greatest achievements, don't you think?
They were pretty amazing. I mean, especially, you know, at that age, because I was very young. I mean, the whole thing about the Bond, there's so many amazing songs and, you know, I'm very grateful to be part of that James Bond legacy.
I think now, you have, in the past, you've been a little critical of yours, Man with the Golden Gun, but I think it is one of the best.
Oh, that's nice.
I love it.
Why don't you like it?
I don't think I don't like it. I don't think I've ever said, you know, one just sometimes gets misquoted, but...
Oh, yes,
okay,
that
but
certainly
I think
happens.
I've probably said it's not my favourite.
Yeah.
Because if I...
And that's been built up into...
You know how it is when you do... Well, I, anyway, don't sit and think, oh, that I was brilliant, that was the best. I kind of go, I think I preferred McCartney's Live and Let Die. Live and Let Die.
That's a great song, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think then people said she didn't like her, which is...
Can I ask you this? How did you... I mean, as we said, you instant stardom at 15, and that was it, you were off. How did you get through it all in those teen years and the 20s with your head screwed on? And you did. Whereas somebody like Britney Spears, which you must have watched and seen appalled as she kind of imploded. Why did it kind of work out for you so well, do you think?
My heart aches for her. And when I hear about, you know, Bieber having his troubles and all these kids, I kind of relate to them. You're absolutely right. Well, I think it was a different time. I also had an amazing manager who I trusted, who had my back.
All right.
And so I was protected. And I also say all the time, even on stage, I will repeat myself and say, although I talk more than I used to, at the beginning I would never say anything. I just go into songs. But now I have a life, I have experience, and I can talk about it. And I mention that I am very lucky and I have angels on my shoulders, for sure. I don't know how I've survived. But yes, I do. I've had good people around me, you know. And I don't know. It was a different time. It was a different time.
When you say it was a different time, I mean, obviously, but what do you mean by that? Do you think social media has made it harder?
I think there's just I think there's a million things. There's never one thing. But of course, to be constantly, you know, it's in your face. You're in everybody's face, and you know you can't blow your nose, and you can't. Or it'll be on the news. Or it probably wouldn't actually more because it's not unusual. But I think it's difficult to cope with all of that, yes. But I do think it's about world domination. When I started in the 60s with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, it was a small industry. And it was like there was a revolution happening. So it was the beginning. And, you know, there's a lot of things I didn't know, a lot of things I've learned. And that's kind of what, on my new tour, because I'm doing a tour in, I start in, actually, Stuart will be very happy if I say you can buy them on my ticket. I've said it, Stuart, not an ad. This is my tour promoter.
Okay.
The tour is 5 or 6 gigs that are very special, but I will talk about how I've managed, what my journey has been. And, I mean, I never thought that would be interesting to anyone, but I started doing shows where I did talk a bit more about my life and talk about things I've never spoken about before. So on this tour, I will combine, it's going to be called, God bless Jennifer Saunders, Champagne for Lulu.
Lovely.
So it's a celebration of all the years. I'm 75 and I didn't have a big party. This is how I celebrate.
Can you just take us back 60 years then? So you're 15 years old, you're at school. How did it happen? I mean, I know I used to know this story, but I've forgotten. How did you get your break?
It is sort of interesting in a funny way because it's so long ago and I'm still here. But it was because of the Beatles. I put it all down to them. I blame them and I credit them and I thank God for them, really. Because I don't think I would be where I am or where I got to as a child.
What do you mean?
Well, because the Beatles started the revolution. It was a British revolution. When the Beatles started and took over the world, they changed the world. And Paul and Richie, if you're listening, take my hat off to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because they started, then everybody was looking for new talent. I was in Glasgow singing in a club at the weekends.
You fancied Paul and John, didn't you?
If you were a teenage girl, you would have actually gone out with any of them, you know what I mean? It was like, oh, it was very exciting. And there was I sort of like working with them, mixing with them, meeting with them. I mean, I think that picture you showed, I look like the cat who got the creams. And so I'm able to, so in my tour, on this tour, like I said, everybody said, why didn't you have a party for 75 years? You're 75, Lou. I said, I chillax with my family, thank you. But the party will be on the tour.
Yeah.
And then the whole of next year, I mean, I've been working on a book that's going to be...
What, an autobiography?
I don't even know what you call it. Have you ever seen Taschen books? You know, the big pictures, the big glossy...
Coffee table book.
It's going to be full of the pictures that we found while I moved house 2 years ago. That started the whole thing, and my team were like, you didn't tell me you did that. Like, you said that they didn't put the Bond thing in. They didn't mention the Eurovision. You know, I wrote a song for Tina Turner that she put into her autobiographical movie called I Don't Want to Fight. I mean, that was the first song my brother and I and Steve DeBerry wrote. And she said, this is my life story. And I went, honey, this is my life story. I didn't say that to her. I didn't see her to say that to her. But, you know, there's so many things, you know, like on the... I did a thing, I mean, when I was in my 60s, what did I done? I mean, so many things that I'd forgotten that I was reminded about by these photographs, so they're going into a book. But also during the tour, there'll be pictures on screens, you know. We
don't want to wrap you up, but we have a government minister standing by.
I mean, that's not fair. I mean, I should come before the...
What do you have?
Joke.
Lulu, lovely to see you.
Great
Champagne for Lulu is your UK tour. It begins next April. And you can buy tickets.
I said it, Stuart.
Stuart.
They're on sale and they're doing very well, so I'm very happy.
Oh, well, you're doing very well. Great.
You're looking great.
Great to see you too.